Recent developments suggest the United States may be reconsidering Turkey's exclusion from the F-35 Lightning II fighter jet program, but significant legal and political obstacles remain. Following a high-profile White House meeting between President Donald Trump and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan on September 25, 2025, the possibility of Turkey's return to the F-35 program has emerged as a contentious issue, with far-reaching implications for NATO, regional security, and U.S. defense policy. Trump signals openness to F-35 deal. During their first face-to-face meeting since 2019, President Trump indicated he could easily lift the ban on Turkey's participation in the F-35 program if certain conditions are met. Trump's optimism was evident when he told reporters, "I could do so easily if I want. We may do that. Well, it depends. Erdogan's going to do something for us." The president also expressed hope that discussions regarding the F-35s would conclude positively. U.S. Ambassador to Turkey Tom Barak reinforced this optimism, declaring, "I had said that the F-35 would be resolved by the end of the year. I won't be wrong." Barak's comments reflect the Trump administration's apparent willingness to pursue a more transactional approach to U.S.-Turkey relations, emphasizing deal-making over traditional diplomatic constraints. The historical context: why Turkey was removed. Turkey was removed from the F-35 program in July 2019 after buying Russia's S-400 missile defense system, despite warnings from the U.S. and NATO. The U.S. feared that using both systems together would let Russia collect data on the F-35's stealth technology, making it easier to develop countermeasures and threaten American and allied pilots. The decision hurt Turkey economically. Since 2002, Turkey has invested about $1.4 billion in the program and was expected to earn over $9 billion. Turkish companies also produced nearly 1,000 F-35 parts, including some critical components that they were the only supplier of. Legal barriers and congressional opposition. The path to Turkey's F-35 reinstatement faces formidable legal obstacles. Section 1245 of the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, for fiscal year 2020 explicitly prohibits the transfer of F-35 aircraft to Turkey unless specific conditions are met. The law requires written certification from the Secretaries of Defense and State, submitted at least 90 days in advance, confirming that Turkey no longer possesses the S-400 system or related personnel and equipment, has credibly committed not to acquire such systems in the future, and has not accepted other Russian defense systems that could compromise F-35 capabilities since July 2019. Unlike the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, or CATSA, which includes discretionary waiver authority, Section 1245's conditions are mandatory. Turkey has not met these requirements as it still possesses the S-400 systems, though they remain unactivated. Congressional opposition remains strong and bipartisan. In August 2025, 40 House members, led by Representatives Chris Pappas, Gus Bilirakis, Dina Titus, and Nicole Maliotakis, sent a letter to Secretary of State Marco Rubio urging rejection of Turkey's request to rejoin the program. The lawmakers argued that readmitting Turkey would jeopardize the integrity of F-35 systems, expose military secrets to Russian intelligence, and undermine allied confidence in U.S. defense technology. Regional allies' concerns. Key U.S. allies, particularly Israel and Greece, have actively lobbied against Turkey's return to the F-35 program. Israel, currently the only Middle Eastern nation operating F-35s with 45 aircrafts in service and 30 more on order, views Turkey's potential acquisition as a threat to its qualitative military edge in the region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has personally raised concerns with U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Israel's opposition is compounded by Turkey's strong criticism of Israeli military operations in Gaza, with Erdoğan accusing Israel of committing complete genocide. Greece similarly opposes the sale, viewing it through the lens of ongoing tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean and Aegean Sea. Greek officials fear that Turkish F-35s could alter the regional balance of power, particularly given Turkey's history of airspace violations and territorial disputes. Current diplomatic climate. The Trump-Erdoğan relationship appears to offer Turkey its best opportunity for F-35 reinstatement. Trump has praised Erdoğan's leadership and emphasized the economic benefits of arms deals with Turkey, including potential Boeing aircraft purchases and F-16 agreements. However, Trump has also pressed Turkey on other contentious issues, particularly its continued purchase of Russian oil and gas since early 2023. Turkey has purchased over $90 billion in Russian energy, making it the third largest buyer of Russian fossil fuels after China and India. Trump has urged Erdoğan to halt these purchases, stating the best thing he could do is not buy oil and gas from Russia. Security concerns beyond the S-400. Critics argue that Turkey's challenges extend beyond the S-400 issue. Turkey's support for Hamas following the October 7, 2023 attacks, its continued cooperation with Russia across multiple sectors, and its increasingly authoritarian domestic policies have raised questions about its reliability as a NATO ally. The Foundation for Defense of Democracies and other security experts have argued that even if Turkey disposed of its S-400 systems, broader concerns about intelligence sharing and operational security would remain. They contend that Turkey's foreign policy alignment increasingly diverges from NATO values and U.S. interests. Looking forward. While President Trump has expressed optimism about resolving the F-35 issue, significant obstacles remain. The mandatory nature of congressional restrictions, strong bipartisan opposition, concerns from key allies, and Turkey's continued possession of S-400 systems create a complex web of challenges that cannot be easily overcome through executive action alone. Any resolution would require Turkey to make substantial concessions regarding the S-400 systems or Congress to amend existing legislation, both scenarios that appear unlikely in the near term. The U.S. State Department has confirmed that its position on Turkey's S-400 acquisition has not changed and that the requirements for the F-35 program re-entry are well known. As Turkey modernizes its military through alternative channels and the U.S. maintains its legal and security concerns, the F-35 issue remains a symbol of broader tensions within NATO and the challenges of managing alliance relationships in an increasingly complex geopolitical environment. While diplomatic engagement continues, the fundamental security and legal barriers to Turkey's F-35 acquisition remain largely intact, making immediate resolution unlikely despite presidential optimism.